Introduction. Why obsession isn't a flaw, it's a superpower. Most people have been taught to fear obsession. Don't go too far. Stay balanced. Be realistic. But Grant Cardone says the opposite. In his world, obsession is the only path to greatness, and being average is the only real danger. In Be Obsessed or Be Average, Cardone doesn't whisper advice, he shouts it, not to be dramatic, but because urgency matters, because time is short, because playing small helps no one. His message is simple: you have to go all in on your dreams or get ready to live life under someone else's terms. Obsession isn't a weakness. It's not mental instability. It's focus, hunger, relentless energy aimed at something that matters. Every person who's ever built something extraordinary in business, sports, music, or life did it by going beyond normal. They weren't balanced. They were consumed. And that's exactly what made them stand out. Cardone speaks from experience. He went from broke, addicted, and uncertain to building a real estate empire, launching best-selling books, growing multiple companies, and dominating every room he walks into. His secret? He stopped listening to people who told him to tone it down. He embraced his obsession and used it like a weapon. If you've ever been told to slow down, to be more humble, to not want too much, this book is for you. Because being told to calm down is how average people protect themselves from the discomfort of seeing someone else rise. This audiobook isn't about balance. It's about fire. It's about giving yourself permission to want more unapologetically, and then doing the work to make it real. No shortcuts, no excuses, just obsession. The kind that keeps you up late, gets you up early, and makes other people uncomfortable. So the choice is simple: be obsessed or be average. There is no in between. You're either chasing your potential with everything you've got, or you're settling for scraps. This isn't just about money. It's about impact, energy, purpose, power. The world belongs to the obsessed, and that world can belong to you if you're ready to earn it. Let's go. Chapter 1. Choose obsession over mediocrity. You can't be great if you're trying to be normal. You can't make history while trying to blend in. And you will never reach your full potential if your biggest goal is to stay comfortable. That's why Grant Cardone's first rule is simple: choose obsession, or get used to being average. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they don't commit. They dip a toe in. They try to balance. They work just hard enough to survive. And that mindset guarantees a lifetime of settling. Cardone says it clearly: being average is a choice. It's what happens when you say maybe instead of yes. When you wait for permission instead of giving it to yourself. When you decide to be liked more than respected. Obsession is the opposite. Obsession is total commitment. It's being willing to go all in, not halfway. It's not just wanting something, it's needing it, needing to win, needing to grow, needing to make your name, your mark, your move. Cardone believes that greatness doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from being obsessed with a result. So obsessed that people start calling you too much, too intense, too focused. And when they say that, you know you're getting close. Here's the thing. You're already obsessed with something. Everyone is. It might be approval, comfort, avoiding failure, looking good, not getting hurt. But what if you chose to obsess over something that mattered? Something that built you instead of held you back? Cardone says, don't suppress your obsession. Aim it. Direct it at your goals, your craft, your business, your brand, your family. Whatever drives you, let it take over. Let it fuel your mornings and keep you working after others quit. Because obsession doesn't drain you, it ignites you. Now let's be clear. Choosing obsession doesn't mean burning out. It doesn't mean destroying your health or your relationships. It means locking into a mission with everything you've got. It means thinking about it when you wake up and when you go to sleep. It means saying no to distractions. Yeah, not because you're disciplined, but because you're focused. People will push back. They'll say you're crazy, that you should slow down, that there's more to life, and that's fine. Let them talk. While they're relaxing, you're building. While they're worried about your pace, you're making moves they can't even see. Obsession is rare because it's uncomfortable. It requires hunger, sacrifice, patience, intensity. But it's also how all greatness is built. No champion, no billionaire, no empire was created by someone who said, "I just want to play it safe." Cardone says to make obsession your identity. Let it show in how you talk, how you act, how you prepare. Make it clear that you're not hoping for success. You're driven by it. Don't just want to win. Expect it, plan for it, obsess over it until it becomes real. If you're not obsessed, you won't survive. When things get hard, you'll quit. You'll make excuses. You'll settle. But when you're obsessed, you don't need motivation. You move because it's who you are. It's not about hype, it's about ownership. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you went all in? If you gave up mediocrity forever? If you stopped trying to fit in and started rising above? What if you turned your energy, your doubt, your fear, all of it, into fuel?
It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it, because the world remembers the obsessed.
The rest, they disappear quietly. Chapter 2. Find the fire. Obsession starts with purpose. Obsession doesn't come from nowhere. It doesn't show up because you decided to work harder. It comes from something deeper, a reason, a mission, a fire that won't go out. Grant Cardone says if you want to be obsessed, you've got to start with one thing, purpose. Purpose isn't a quote on a wall. It's not a nice phrase you say when someone asks about your goals. It's a force. It's what makes you unstoppable when other people quit. It's what pulls you through exhaustion, rejection, failure, and fear. Purpose makes obsession natural, not forced. When you know why you're doing what you're doing, for real, it stops being hard to show up. You don't need to push yourself. You can't stop yourself. Cardone says most people live small because they never got clear on what they really want. They drift through jobs, relationships, and routines with no fire behind any of it. They copy other people's paths. They settle for good enough. But without purpose, there's no obsession. And without obsession, there's no greatness. So how do you find your fire? Start by asking questions most people are afraid to ask. What do I really want out of life? What makes me mad, excited, or emotional? And why? What would I do if no one judged me and I couldn't fail? Don't edit your answers. Don't downplay your dreams. Don't filter for what's reasonable. Cardone says, your purpose isn't supposed to be safe. It's supposed to wake you up. If it doesn't scare you a little, it's not big enough. Maybe it's building generational wealth for your family. Maybe it's helping others escape the life you once had. Maybe it's proving everyone wrong. Maybe it's proving yourself right. Whatever it is, own it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Build your life around it.
Because when you're aligned with purpose, you stop chasing distractions. You stop quitting early. You stop needing constant motivation. Purpose turns on the engine, and obsession keeps it running.
Cardone also says purpose needs to be personal. If your goal is just to impress people, it won't last. If you're only chasing someone else's idea of success, you'll burn out. But if your goal comes from inside you, it won't go away. That's when you become dangerous. That's when your work becomes mission, not maintenance. Let people laugh at how big your goal is. Let them say it's too much. That's a sign you're on track. Average people always mock what they don't understand, especially when someone refuses to settle like they did. Purpose also helps you push through resistance, because resistance is coming. You'll be tired, you'll be discouraged, you'll lose, you'll fail. But if your purpose is real and your obsession is wired into it, you'll keep going when it doesn't make sense to anyone else. That's how champions are made. This chapter isn't about vision boards or fantasy goals. It's about building your life around something so meaningful that giving up stops being an option. When the mission is big enough, the excuses get smaller. And the people who used to distract you, they start asking how you did it. You don't need a perfect plan, you need a reason. A reason to get up early, to work harder, to outlast everyone else. And if you're not obsessed yet, maybe you're not being honest about what really matters to you. So take the time to get clear, not someday, now. Write it down, read it every morning. Let it become your obsession, because without purpose, you're drifting. With it, you're dangerous. Chapter 3. Use criticism as fuel. If you're doing anything that matters, you will be criticized. That's a fact. The more obsessed you get, the louder the noise becomes. People will call you arrogant, intense, selfish, unrealistic, or just plain crazy. But Grant Cardone's advice is simple. Good. Let them talk, then use it as fuel. Average people don't understand obsession, so they attack it. They see someone breaking the mold and it makes them uncomfortable. Why? Because it reminds them that they settled. When you rise, it forces others to look at where they stopped. That's why critics aren't always enemies. Often, they're just people who gave up. And now they want you to shrink so they don't have to feel small. But here's the truth. You will never be criticized by someone doing more than you. You'll only be judged by those doing less. The greats don't waste time tearing others down. They're too busy building. So when someone mocks your intensity or questions your pace, take it as a signal that you're moving in the right direction. Cardone says the biggest mistake you can make is letting criticism slow you down. Most people hear a little pushback and immediately start shrinking. They stop posting, they stop selling, they stop showing up. They try to tone it down to keep people comfortable. But when you do that, you're handing your power over to people who never had the courage to do what you're doing. Criticism means you're standing out. And standing out is the price of success. You can't dominate by being invisible. You can't build something legendary without attracting haters. And the minute you try to please everyone, you start blending in. That's when obsession dies. So what do you do instead? Cardone says to use it. Take every insult, every comment, every piece of doubt, and turn it into drive. Let it make you sharper. Let it push you harder. Let it remind you why you started. When someone says you're too much, say thank you. When they say you're too intense, say that's the point. When they say you'll burn out, say watch me. You're not here to be liked. You're here to win. And sometimes, winning means being misunderstood for a while. The same people who criticize you today will ask for your advice tomorrow. If they don't, they were never your audience in the first place. Cardone also reminds us that criticism can come from people close to you, family, friends, even people you love. It hurts more when it's personal, but you have to ask, are they giving you truth or are they projecting fear? Are they warning you from experience or reacting to their own insecurity? If the feedback is real and useful, take it. If it's just noise, fuel up and move. Don't waste energy explaining yourself to people who aren't in the game. The only person you owe anything to is the version of you that refused to quit. Obsession means you'll attract opinions. That's fine. But make sure none of those opinions override your mission. The world is full of critics. It's light on finishers. Be the one who keeps going, no matter what they say. So if the haters are getting louder, smile. That means you're getting closer. Let them talk. Let them doubt. Then prove them wrong by doing what they can't. You don't rise by avoiding criticism. You rise by outlasting it. Chapter 4. Take massive action all the time. You don't win with small moves. You don't stand out by dipping your toe in. If you want to dominate in business, in life, in anything, you have to do what most people won't. And that means taking massive action. Not once, not sometimes, but all the time. Grant Cardone doesn't believe in moderation. He doesn't believe in easing in, testing the waters, or seeing how it goes. He believes in overcommitment, in showing up so hard, so loud, so consistently, that people can't ignore you, even if they want to. Massive action is what separates the obsessed from the average. It's what makes the difference between people who talk and people who build. Most people fail not because they don't have talent, but because they move too slow, too soft, too small. They're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect strategy, the perfect approval. Cardone says, forget perfect. Go big, go fast, go now. Massive action means doing more than is expected, making the extra call, sending the extra email, creating more content, pushing more product, expanding your reach. Not because you're desperate, but because you're driven. It means committing to a level of output that almost looks unreasonable to everyone else. That's how you win.
Cardone breaks it down into 4 levels of action.
1. Do nothing. You avoid, delay, procrastinate. This is the default setting for most people. 2nd, retreat. You try, face resistance, and pull back. You stay safe. 3rd, normal action. You do just enough to feel busy, but not enough to break through. 4th, massive action. You go all in, you dominate, you overwhelm your goal with effort. Only one of those creates real results. And it's not the balanced one. You need to train your brain to default to massive action. That means taking action before you feel ready. Moving when others hesitate. Hitting send before you're 100% sure, because speed matters, momentum matters. Obsession without action is just fantasy.
Massive action isn't chaotic, it's focused. You're not just doing more for the sake of it. You're directing your energy toward what drives results. You test, you tweak, you repeat, you stay on the fence. You act with urgency, not fear.
People will say you're doing too much, that you should slow down, rest more, be realistic. Ignore them. They're moving at the speed of average, and you're not here for average. You're here to own your space.
Massive action also builds confidence. Every time you move, you build belief, and that belief becomes evidence. It's hard to doubt yourself when you're taking action daily. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move and let action create readiness along the way.
Cardone says if you don't feel like you're doing too much, you're probably not doing enough. If people aren't commenting on how intense you are, you haven't hit the right volume yet. You should be operating at a level that makes the old version of you nervous and the future version of you proud.
Massive action creates luck. It creates attention. It creates breakthrough moments that would never come from slow, cautious movement. The opportunities you want are out there, but they don't show up for people who hesitate. They show up for people who refuse to slow down.
So if you want to become obsessed in action, set bigger targets, schedule more than you think you can handle, follow up more times than you feel comfortable, show up louder, faster, more often. You don't need to do it forever, but you need to do it until the results demand attention. Don't just take action, take massive action all the time. Chapter 5. Stay hungry, never settle. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you can never lose the hunger. Not when you win, not when you hit your goals, not when things are going well. In fact, the moment you feel satisfied, that's when the fall begins. That's why Grant Cardone's final rule is clear. Stay hungry, never settle. The greatest threat to success isn't failure, it's comfort. Comfort makes you slow, it makes you soft. It tells you you've done enough, when in reality, you've barely scratched the surface. Cardone says, hunger isn't something you feel once, it's something you choose every day. You train it, you feed it, you protect it like it's your edge, because it is. Most people stop growing because they hit a target and think it means they've made it. They relax. They take the foot off the gas. And slowly they slide backward in income, ambition, health, and mindset. Hunger disappears when you stop reaching for more. And without hunger, obsession dies. Cardone says if you're not expanding, you're contracting. There is no standing still. The world moves fast. Business moves fast. The people who stay relevant are the ones who stay driven. No matter how much they've already accomplished, you might have won today. Good, that was today. What's next? Hunger doesn't mean being greedy. It means being committed to growth, to impact, to legacy. It means never letting success turn into complacency. You celebrate your wins, but you don't let them put you to sleep. You use them to build momentum. The most successful people Cardone knows are also the most unsatisfied. Not in a miserable way, but in a focused way. They're not chasing more for the ego. They're chasing more because they know who they're becoming in the process. They know how far they can still go, and they know they owe it to themselves and others not to settle. To stay hungry, you need targets that stretch you. If your goals don't scare you a little, you're aiming too low. You don't need easy wins. You need goals that keep you sharp, focused, and moving forward when others are coasting. Hunger thrives in challenge. That's where obsession grows. Cardone also says to beware of your environment. If you're surrounded by people who settle, your hunger will fade. Average is contagious. That's why you need to protect your circle. Stay around people who push, who build, who expect more, not because they're never satisfied, but because they refuse to shrink. Staying hungry also means staying grateful, but never comfortable. Be grateful for how far you've come, but don't confuse gratitude with settling. You can appreciate what you have and still know you're capable of more. That's real success. Progress with purpose.
Hunger also keeps you humble. When you stay hungry, you know you still have work to do. You don't coast, you don't get sloppy, you don't believe your own hype. You stay sharp, you stay learning, you stay in motion.
And when things get hard, when motivation fades, hunger is what carries you. It keeps you from quitting. It reminds you who you are, why you started, what's at stake. People who settle always have an excuse. People who stay hungry always have a reason. So keep raising the bar. Set goals that scare you. Create pressure on purpose. Build a life that demands more from you, and then rise to meet it. Never let someone else's comfort become your limit. Never let your past win become your future prison. You don't have to chase someone else's version of success, but you do have to keep chasing your own potential. Stay hungry, never settle. Conclusion. Build a life that demands attention. You've got two choices. You can live small, quiet, controlled, comfortable. You can blend in, keep people happy, stay in your lane, and die with regrets. Or you can live obsessed. Grant Cardone doesn't want you to be normal. He wants you to be a force. To walk into a room and shift the energy. To build something that demands attention. Not by talking louder, but by living bigger. By moving with purpose, showing up obsessed, and doing what average people won't.
You've learned what it takes.
Choose obsession over mediocrity. Find your fire and protect it.
Turn criticism into fuel.
Take massive action every single day and stay hungry even when you win.
That's the blueprint. It's not easy, but it is simple.
You don't need permission, you don't need to wait, you don't need to be perfect, talented, or lucky. You just need to decide, I'm not living an average life. Because obsession isn't optional. Not if you want to stand out, not if you want to lead, not if you want freedom, success, impact, or legacy. People will try to pull you back to normal. Let them. You're building something different. You're designing a life on fire, and that fire will scare people until it inspires them. So show up louder, push harder, think bigger, work smarter. And when you feel like quitting, remind yourself, average is easy, but obsession builds empires.
Be obsessed or be average.
Your choice.